When it comes to Allen Iverson and sneakers and this channel, we've done plenty of these right here, and what they are is question mids. But what we're looking at today is this is an answer for, and this is one of those opportunities for me as a YouTuber and a lover of sneakers to actually do a bit of research. A shoe don't know much about, and I'm super glad that I did on this one, because there's a lot in the shoe itself, but there's also a lot in the history. And to be honest, as soon as I read about this shoe, it reminded me of the Air Jordan 4s and the link between Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson. And we'll get into that. We'll get into the details on the shoe, the different hits, the branding, and the construction of it as we take that look today at this upcoming re-release, restock, whatever you want to call it, of the Allen Iverson Reebok Answer 4 OG. This is the Tokyo Bara 23 Secret channel. Tokyo Bara 23 Secret channelです。毎日アップするので毎日見てください。And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And there's basically two ways to do videos at this channel. There's the ones where I know a lot about the shoes already, Air Force Ones, Air Max, Jordans, across to the Adidas line with things like Ultra Boost or 4D Futurecraft and stuff like that. There's plenty of shoes that I could just talk about without really thinking about it. And then at the other end of that spectrum, there's a bunch of shoes that I don't know anything about and I have to research about them, but always central at the channel is learning. I want to learn and want to grow what I know about sneakers. That's why I love comments like I've been getting recently. A few guys have been dropping comments on the dunk videos and letting me know more details about those dunks, about where they come from, why they're a certain way. Especially there was the Easter pastel dunks, and I got some comments on there about women's dunks, because I didn't know much about women's dunks and what that means to put WMNS on a dunk, and some guys shot me out with comments down below so I could learn, grow what I know about shoes. So I truly appreciate when that's an option of the channel. It's been the same for the 2.5 years that I've had this channel. I've always loved that part of it, and this is why I choose shoes like this, even though it's not something I'm comfortable with. A lot of people would avoid that. A lot of people would say, you know what, don't know enough about that shoe, I don't think I should talk about it. But I prefer to tell you up front, I don't know much about it. I had to research it, learn about it, study it basically, and then come at you guys and tell you what I know about it. So first things first, we're going to split this video in half, and we're going to go down that history route, and I'll tell you why I'm tying this Answer 4 up with the Air Jordan 4s, and then we'll get into the shoe itself and look at the detailing on there. So first things first, the Answer 4s. Why is this shoe iconic? And it's to do with one particular shot, not the shot, because the shot goes back to the Air Jordan 4s when Michael Jordan made a buzzer beater wearing the 4s, turns away and does an iconic fist pump and jump, and it's one of the major reasons why the Air Jordan 4s took off as a shoe. But also there's a certain Spike Lee movie that's part of that heritage and that history of that shoe. But basically what you're talking about is one shot, one iconic moment caught on camera and played over and over again, a huge testament to Michael Jordan. And then you fast forward from that to 2001, the only time Allen Iverson appeared in the NBA Finals at all. He's a great storied career. He's one of those guys that appears in like the top 5 of greatest players never to have won a ring. And his only appearance in the finals was in 2001 against the Lakers. And at that time, the Lakers sported Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. So, you know, it was a big ask. But in game 1, the only game that the Philadelphia 76ers won of that series was in overtime. And Allen Iverson shot some pretty big buckets in that overtime, but none more so than the one that made this shoe a signature for him, because he shoots it up, the defender stumbles and falls, and it's that moment that Allen Iverson steps over the fallen opponent, and that was the iconic sort of, it became memes, it became t-shirts, it became mugs. It's synonymous with beating your fallen opponent. Even recently there was something I read about Drake and somebody else, and they photoshopped Drake's face and his opponent onto Allen Iverson and his opponent to do that. So it's an iconic moment in basketball, one of the most famous iconic moments in basketball, and it was this shoe that he was wearing, and that's why this shoe is coming back to us now. And that's what, 2001, so we're talking 20 years. And basically the sneaker brands do like to have, you know, like a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year gap, and then they bring back shoes to sort of remind us of the history and remind us where they came from. And that's what this is today. We're talking about the Answer 4s, which were big in 2001 when Allen Iverson had his biggest year. League MVP, I think, if I'm right in saying, took Philadelphia to the finals, but didn't quite get over the line. And that was as close as he ever got. So that's the history of shoes. That's why it's here. Definitely add to that history in the comments down below, or correct me if I've got something wrong, because I'm not like an encyclopedia of knowledge, and I know a lot about basketball, but I'm not from a culture of basketball. Being British and living in Japan, couldn't be that much further away from the North American basketball circuit. So if you know more about it, if you've got more to add to the story, definitely fire us up with a comment down below. And that's a good way to lead into the shoe itself and to talk about what the details are on there. So lateral side, looking at the shoe, it looks like a very sort of solid, chunky, kind of mid to early 2000s style of basketball shoe. There's a few details going on there. One of them is the three main colors that play in here is the red, the white, and the grey. But those red, white, and greys represent three different materials as well as three different colors. So we'll start with the grey coming up out of the midfoot. Now I know if you're a younger viewer out there, you'll laugh at this, but it was high technology, it was high quality for that midfoot the midsole to run up out of the sole area and into the midfoot like it does here. So you can see the way that grey lines up and kind of continues into the upper of the shoe. Big technology in 2001, I can assure you. And that grey bit on there, though, that's the DMX foam that we're talking about, which is a major part of the Reebok line, especially when it comes to sports shoes. One of the ideas of DMX is a double layered foam where one layer is soft and sort of malleable and responsive, and the other layer is a bit harder, giving you a bit more support. So that DMX, which you can see around about the heel area, and we'll look at it on the lateral side, and later when we look at the outsole you'll see a wrap around on that, but you can see that rubber and that foam coming out of the midsole and up into the midfoot, and you hit right in the middle of that, an I with a 3, because Allen Iverson played most of his career on number 3. He did have a little hint at a little stint, I should say, at number 1, but basically number 3 is the number that's he's synonymous with, and that 3 and I for Allen Iverson's there on that midfoot area. Especially, the bit that we're going for is the fact that it's a different material from the rest of the shoe. So let's go on up to the next layer, to the red, which is a very smooth, kind of consistent leather on there on the red parts of the shoe. And the reason why I'm kind of highlighting that smoothness is because as you go up from that and onto the white, you get into a much more textured and tumbled feel to the leather and the white part of it. So you've got three very distinct sections of the shoe in those three different colors: the grey and the DMX foam, up onto the red with the smooth leathers, and then on top of that the sort of textured feel to the white leathers on there. And that brings us to a better view, and hopefully I'm showing you this on here, of the lacing system, which is shrouded in that zippered front. Again, high technology in 2001. These days it looks a bit kind of corny and dated, which it should, because it's been 20 years, but back then this was one of the biggest stories in sneakers. Now 2001 on the Jordan line, what would that have been? That would have been Jordan like 16s, I think, if I remember rightly, if I've got my chronology right. And 16, 17, 18, that kind of era in the Jordan line also featured a lot of these shrouds and covering the actual laces on there. Part of that with the Jordan line, just as an aside, was when he moved into the front office and stopped playing actually on the hardwoods. He wanted shoes that would look good in the boardroom as much as on the basketball court. So he had the shrouds on there to give it that kind of corporate feeling. You take the shrouds off, go play on the court, and you get that basketball feel. So a big story of like late 90s, early 2000s was shrouds, fasteners, zippers up the front of them, as we have here. And then at the top of that, you've got a very cool little sort of tab that rolls across, and I think it's Velcro. The Velcro's shut to protect the zipper from, protect other players and other people from the zipper. And then on top of that, on the top of the thumbs, you've got the Reebok branding and the word Reebok grey on grey up there. And then flipping them out, last thing to do is have a look at that outsole. I did say we'd see that DMX roll around towards the heel area, which hopefully you're able to see on here. But the major two features are around about the midfoot, where the grey and the red blend together. It says only the strong survive. Nice powerful affirmation from the Answer himself there. And then within the sort of centerpiece of the heel area, you've got a huge chunk missing, bordered in red and very deep in that. You've got an image of Allen Iverson himself to sort of finish off the shoe. So back out looking at the whole shoe, one of the classics, a shoe that I've never really come across before, don't know much about, but happy to dig into, to learn about, and then take that lot of knowledge that I've learned about and pass it on to you guys out there for you to correct if I'm wrong, or for you to add to and give us more details in the comments down below, because I truly appreciate both. And that's today's video. So first time looking at the Reebok Answer looked at a few, like I said, Reebok questions, but the answers, this is the first time for me in the channel. So hopefully you appreciate that. And all that's left for me to do is just to finish up the videos. Thank you guys for checking out the content. And I'll say the thing that I say at the end of every single video is that I do this every single day. And that means you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.